Hello, and welcome to Intersec Dubai 2023. I'm Wendy from Far Middle East magazine, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Jensen from TLX Technologies today. Dennis is a business development manager with TLX, who have become a global authority in actuation solutions for the fire suppression industry. Welcome, Dennis.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Something I'm really excited to talk to you about today, and it's a topic on everyone's mind here at Intersec, is trends in the fire suppression industry. So which trends do you see having the largest impact on the industry throughout 2023 and beyond?
Yeah, and I think that probably the two biggest ones that run up for everybody are new technology and regulations. New technology, I think, is almost an annual issue because there's always developments that are rolling up and being vetted. But when it comes to regulations, I think there's something new. The globalization of regulations now is a big deal because it allows for the opportunity of some people that might be regionally specific that their all of a sudden products can be certified to be sold in other parts of the globe. So I think that's going to be interesting to see what parts of the world actually start to grow their business globally. And that'll all be from the globalization standards.
Sure. So what is the biggest challenge facing the suppression industry in the Middle East right now?
Well, I would say it's the growth for the Middle East. I mean, I've talked to a few people from different countries, and they're seeing it that it's now not just the new buildings that have to have up-to-date fire suppression systems, but they need to retrofit existing buildings. So there's so much demand. And with that, this drive now in the Middle East, you have companies that are growing very quickly with new technology that's on par with the rest of the world. And that's where there's that overlap with the globalization of standards. Could be a huge opportunity for companies in the Middle East.
Yes, because the investment in making those super buildings that have been around for a long time safe.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're generating all this additional revenue. They can reinvest in their company with new technology, meeting these standards, and then possibly sell into Europe, North America, etc.
And protecting investment.
Exactly.
So, new technology, hot topic. What's out there? What's the latest innovation that you consider?
Well, and what I think is interesting is that we've got monitoring now. It's been talked about for a couple of years. You're seeing it, this whole sensing, data collection, connectivity. It's being used in our daily lives. And now we're just starting to see monitoring in fire panels. So it's not system-wide, right? It's just the panel itself that's able to get, information out to the web or out to your phone. And that's a new technological development that's out there.
Right, monitoring. So talk to us more about monitoring. Well, what is the big thing? There will be people listening going, monitoring?
Well, and I did really stop short of all the facts. So monitoring is out there right now with fire panels, but so much more needs to be known. So at the fire panel, you can say, okay, is the system ready? Is the fire panel prepared to send a signal to initiate the system? But you don't know, is the tank functioning? Does the tank have agent? So that's where it's not the whole story. And I think what we're going to run into are companies going to investigate different types of connectivity. So you'd have like maybe LoRa or Bluetooth or Bluetooth low energy, losing that locally with sensors to collect data at the tanks and other parts of the system. They'll run that all back to the fire panel, or they'll run that all back out to the internet. So even though the technology is available, what I would caution people about is that monitoring a segment of the system is not meant to give you confidence that the system is ready. It's meant to give you some information that's helpful. And I think what the industry is going to have to grow with, and this is going to come back to regulatory push, you have committees all over the world that are investigating, hey, what data do we need to collect? What does it mean for end users? What does it mean for installers? And I think that discussion everybody needs to participate in, because now we can get all this efficiency. Different segments of the market. So I've talked to people at Walmart and Amazon. They have all these different locations. They don't want to hope that their systems work. They want to know. And that's all the way from the fire panel functioning to agent in the tank to making sure that the system would work if called upon. And then for installers, I talked to a company that works in the Maldives. So archipelago, right? So all these islands, if they can actually know when tanks are low of different types or when there's a problem, they're going out for an install. Well, the island next door has a problem. We'll have the guys run over right there. So they're much more efficient, much more customer supportive. And imagine if they could monitor their customer system. Now they can go out to their client and say, hey, we're not only going to install this, but we're going to watch over it for you. We will make sure that this, when you need this system, it's active. And they can provide so much better support.
Data collection, how is that going to improve?
And it's really, that's the big question, because like I said, with fire panels, they're collecting some information, but the industry needs to talk about all the information that really needs to tell them that it's a system's health, right? So for instance, like one sensor is shock. Some people would say, Dennis, why do I need to know if a canister has been bumped into? Well, bumped into is not a problem, but a forklift making a wrong turn, knocking a canister, cracking a seal, and all of a sudden starting a slow leak is a major problem. So that idea with slow leaks, we know people are talking about it. So we've investigated at TLX a couple different ways of being able to check agent level. And one of them is by weight sensing. So where you can get it tight enough that it can notice maybe even 100 grams of agent gone missing. So you could give that notification of saying, hey, you know, the tank is not ready to be decommissioned, but we notice a drop in agent level. You should investigate that now. So I think it's not just, hey, let's throw a bunch of sensors out there. It's what data do we need to collect? How is it going to protect end users and the rest of the industry? And then how can we make it available?
It's a big challenge, though, to get.
Yeah, and you know, I'd like to say that there aren't any problems with it, but people do get concerned. So, for instance, I've had people come back to me and say, well, you know, hey, if we do this monitoring or if we do sensing, it's going to increase our liability. And, you know, that's really not accurate. I mean, that would be like saying for cars, it would be cheaper if we remove the seat belts and the airbags, and, you know, that won't increase our liability. Well, no, you're wrong, right? If you get in a car accident and there are no seat belts, you're going to get sued back to the Stone Age. And so now as monitoring becomes ubiquitous, right, we're using it, we're even getting notifications from our appliances. So there's going to be no place to hide. The world is a litigious place, right? There's too many lawyers looking to, you know, take companies to task. So when you have technology that we all know will save lives, not using it is a liability issue. So I think that what people are considering a problem is really motivation. And it'll be a matter now of the OEM companies, which ones are really innovative and market leaders. They will bring this to market first.
And TLX Technologies will stand up to the challenge.
We're just offering support, right? We don't have any products that we're selling that's like a monitoring dashboard, or we just have all the knowledge. And we're ready to work with any OEMs or any end users or even installer and maintenance companies that want to, you know, dive into this area and provide better service to the end customer.
Brilliant. Dennis, thank you so much for today. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure everybody listening has learned a lot too. Okay. Good to see you.